The air in the House chamber crackled with tension. President Trump, amidst a sea of dark suits and American flags, delivered his address. He touted Republican victories, his voice booming. Suddenly, a jarring cry pierced the room. "You have no mandate!" The shout, raw and defiant, came from Representative Al Green, Democrat of Texas. Green, a lone figure rising from the Democratic side, continued his protest. His words, laced with urgency, echoed through the chamber. The room erupted in chaos. Trump, momentarily stunned, paused his speech. Republican lawmakers, faces contorted in anger, pointed fingers and hurled insults. The sergeant-at-arms, a stoic figure amidst the pandemonium, approached Green. He escorted the congressman out of the chamber, Green's voice fading as he continued his protest. The room, still buzzing with shock and anger, struggled to regain its composure. Trump, visibly shaken, eventually resumed his speech. But the damage was done. Green's outburst left an indelible mark on the night, a stark reminder of the deep divisions plaguing American politics. The Republican response was swift and furious. "Unacceptable!" roared Representative Troy Nehls, his face flushed with anger. Nehls, a fellow Texan, wasted no time in drafting a resolution to censure Green. The document, circulated among House Republicans, accused Green of gross misconduct. It condemned his actions as a blatant disregard for House rules and an affront to the presidency. The House Freedom Caucus, a group known for its uncompromising stance, joined the fray. Led by the fiery Representative Andy Harris, they announced their own censure resolution. Harris, his voice dripping with disdain, labeled Green's actions a disgraceful spectacle. He vowed to hold Green accountable for his egregious breach of decorum. The Republican leadership, initially caught off guard by the outburst, quickly rallied behind the calls for punishment. House Majority Leader Steve Scalise, his expression grim, promised a thorough investigation. He hinted at further disciplinary measures, stating that such behavior cannot be tolerated. Speaker Mike Johnson, a staunch Trump ally, echoed these sentiments. He vowed to uphold the dignity of the House and ensure that Green faced consequences for his actions. Al Green, defiant in the face of mounting criticism, refused to back down. He argued that his actions, while disruptive, were necessary. Silence, he declared, is complicity. He insisted that his outburst was not about disrespecting the presidency, but about defending the vulnerable. Green, his voice filled with emotion, explained that he felt compelled to speak out against Trump's proposed budget cuts. He argued that slashing funding for Medicaid, Medicare, and Social Security would have devastating consequences for millions of Americans. "These are not just numbers on a spreadsheet," Green implored. "These are real people's lives." He accused the Trump administration of prioritizing tax cuts for the wealthy over the well-being of the most vulnerable. Green acknowledged that his actions violated House rules and that he was prepared to accept the consequences. However, he remained resolute in his belief that he had a moral obligation to speak truth to power. He framed his protest as a desperate attempt to amplify the voices of those who felt ignored and marginalized. Sometimes, Green concluded, you have to raise your voice to be heard. The fallout from Green's protest extended far beyond the walls of Congress. It ignited a fierce debate about the limits of dissent in a democracy and the erosion of civility in American politics. Pundits and politicians alike weighed in, their opinions reflecting the deep partisan divide that gripped the nation. Some applauded Green's courage, hailing him as a hero for standing up for his beliefs. They argued that his actions, while unconventional, were a necessary wake-up call in an era of political apathy. Others condemned his behavior, accusing him of grandstanding and disrespecting the office of the presidency. They argued that his outburst set a dangerous precedent, normalizing disruptive behavior and undermining the decorum essential for a functioning democracy. The incident also raised questions about the role of protest in a polarized political climate. While Green's actions sparked immediate outrage, their long-term impact remained uncertain. Would his protest galvanize opposition to Trump's agenda, or further entrench partisan divisions? Would it inspire more lawmakers to embrace unconventional tactics or lead to stricter enforcement of decorum rules? Only time would tell how Green's act of defiance would shape the future of American political discourse. One thing was certain, the events of that night served as a stark reminder of the fragility of democracy and the urgent need for civility and respect in an increasingly polarized world.